Right now, I'd like to introduce Deputy Stanley Murray, Master Deputy with the Orange County Sheriff's Department, who is going to be talking to us all today about bullying prevention.
How we doing? How you doing? All righty then. Good afternoon. Anybody's first time to Orlando? No? Yeah, I got to go to Orlando again. Okay. All right. Well, let me welcome you still to a great place in Florida to visit, to be a part of. I bring greetings from our sheriff, our newly elected sheriff back in November, Sheriff John Mina, who was formerly our police chief in Orlando. Our former sheriff, Jerry L. Demings, is now the mayor of Orange County. And so you can see a lot is going on in our area. I want to bring some to our attention. My title today is It's Not Right, But It's Real. We're going to talk about bullying. I'm told there's a little clicker for me. How you doing, baby? I'm a walker. Y'all don't mind if I walk, do you? Is this it? So just push the button with the light. Softly. Hot dog. Amen. Well, this is a little bit about myself. I've had the blessed opportunity, as a matter of fact, here in July, I'll have 24 years as a deputy here in Orange County. Any military personnel, retired, active, reserve, any dependents, stand up, put your hands together for those who are willing to serve our great country in such a time as now. I've had the blessed opportunity to do that for 22 years, and I'm still a young man. So the rest of that stuff is blah, 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 blah. And then now at the bottom, I'm blessed also to be, I'm also our chaplain coordinator at the Sheriff's Office. We have 25 various clergies of faith from various different denominations and religions. So we thank our higher power for that. And I'm also the senior pastor of the Mount Zion Tabernacle Christian Church, where we believe in faith, family, and fellowship. So if I slip up and say amen, don't judge me, just pray for me, all right? All righty then. I want to first talk about relationships, because what you're going to find in bullying, I was able to work at a high school for many years, and then I also mentored a youth program we had at the Sheriff's Office, and I personally had a mentoring program myself, almost 18 years. But I want to talk about relationships and defining a healthy relationships. You know, when we were younger, our older parents and grandparents used to talk about relations. And relations was not a relationship. A relation was carnal. A relation was something physical. But a relationship was something that moved you to another level. You began to like the person a little bit more. Was there something about them that you wanted to communicate with more with them, and you were able to let down some of your barriers. You were able to let down some of who you were, and you were inclined to do that with them, and they were inclined to do that with you. And so either that relationship became healthy or toxic. One of the things I want to talk about is there's ABCs in it. A is for awareness. Say it with me, awareness. Now, what I'm giving you is what I give our kids, because I figure we ought to break it all the way down, since we got a lot of degrees in the room and all y'all educated and, you know, all that. So we're going to bring it back to a child's level so we can go back to where we first had humbleness. Using what you know to respect others and demand respect. And that demand is how you're living, how you're reacting to situations, how you're commenting on things in your life. And so we're encouraging our students to know that their awareness of who they're around and who they're communicating with can either become healthy or toxic. We talk about awareness as the knowledge of the consequence of unhealthy relationships and recognizing danger signs as well as knowing what your boundaries are. We talk about B for balance. Balance means being in sync with your partner, and that could be friends or whatever, and have a relationship that is not one-sided, meaning that one person has more control or power than the other. Communication is key in staying in balance. And sometimes in the relationship our kids go through, they get to talk a lot, but they don't get to communicate a lot. They talk at each other a lot. They talk about each other a lot, but they don't talk to each other a lot. Some of us grown folks could raise our hand on that, right? Some of us are on our jobs. We talk with our coworkers a lot, but we don't talk to our coworkers a lot. Some of us have said that as parents. We talk at our children a lot. We talk with our spouses a lot, but we don't talk to them a lot. Then we got C for conscious choices. And conscious choices include being able to openly decide what the next step is in any relationship by making sure things just don't happen. I was with my friends and we just happened to steal a car. I was with my friends, we just happened to take some clothes out of Macy's or Nordstrom's or Walmart, which is a common statement teens use, and even younger than that, for getting into emotional or inappropriate situations that they don't know how to handle. Choices mean being able to have concern so you don't lose control. Red lights of an abusive relationship. Abuse always escalates and it rarely gets better. We got middle school kids in what they believe are relationships that are being beaten and abused by what they would call their boyfriend, girlfriend. It's not just one-sided. Middle school, before the birds and bees, so to speak. Y'all don't know about birds, bee? You gonna help her? Okay. If you're in any experience of these things, you may be involved in an unhealthy relationship. Knowing the warning signs. Let's talk about it. Not all signs will be in every abusive relationship. If one or more of these signs exist, it doesn't necessarily mean that your relationship is abusive, but your relationship may not be as healthy as you desire it to be. They put you down. Constantly check up on you, but not in a healthy way. Kind of like, where you been 5 minutes ago? Who's that talking to you? When I was at my high school, 90% of my fights were girl-related, not boy. Why was that? I began to understand that women are blessed with this ability to exhale. The situation is they exhaled with probably the wrong person to tell their business to. And then they go home for the summer, and then they would come back to school, and then that friend that they had exhaled to is now laughing in the hallway with another young lady, and the first thing they said was, "She talking about me." They tell you how to dress. This is middle school. You would think this would be college. We're talking all the way back to 6th grade now. Try to control what you do, who you see. We don't kind of look at that as a form of bullying, but it is. Have big mood swings, to go from 0 to 10. Make you feel nervous when you're walking around on eggshells. Criticize you. You're okay when they met you with that short skirt, but after you get with them, why are you wearing that short skirt? Not you too. Bullying is a form of abuse. It involves repeated acts over time attempting to create or enforce one person or group's power over another person or even group. Thus, an imbalance of power. And we try to educate our young people by informing them that they have power. They have the power to learn, the power to love, and the power to live. Bullying consists of 3 basic types: abuse, emotional, verbal. We can get into the cyber type a little bit. But it deals in basically manipulation. It's estimated that 160,000 children miss school every day due to fear of attacks or intimidation by other students. 1 in 7, K through 12, is either a bully or a victim of it. Over half the kids have personally witnessed. And I tell people, and when you're looking at statistics, everything factual isn't always true. This is just what's reported. Multiply that times 3, 5. You're not going to find a 10th grade boy telling somebody he's been bullied. It's about image, right? 15% of all the school absenteeism is directly related to the fears of being bullied at school. 71% of students report incidents of bullying as a problem at their school. Bullying statistics may say revenge is the strongest motivation for school shootings. 282,000 students are physically attacked. This is just numbers that we report now. Look at 4th through 8th, 4th grade through 8th grade. Your biggest transitions are 5th to 6th, 8th to 9th. They took out junior high school. I'm dating myself. Revenge. Some would call that justice, depending on the child, depending on their mindset. 80% of students say other kids picking on them, making fun of them, or bullying them causes them to turn to lethal violence. Over half say witnessing physical abuse at home. Can we go there for a minute? I know we can pull it out, what is the school doing, but what are we doing at home? There's a lot that they witness at home that ain't right, but it's real. It's happening every day. They watch it. I myself grew up in a home where my stepfather, I got my whippings with a fan belt off of a car in my underwear. I would watch my mother every Friday night, godly woman, school teacher. Bless her heart, she just passed away here in January. I just buried her the 1st of February. Would get beaten to the point she would be on the floor in the kitchen. Excuse me if I go left for a minute, calling on the name of the Lord. I grew up to where I started playing football in high school, youth football. So then it changed from him fighting mom to him fighting me and mom because I wasn't taking it no more. I had an opportunity to go to Alabama State and play football, but my mom shipped me off to the Navy. Bless her heart. There's a lot going on at home. According to bullying statistics, 1 out of every 10 students who drops out of school does so. They're not going to tell you. Not in the beginning. They have to believe they can trust you. And it's hard for children to really get out of a trust factor because most kids genuinely trust adults. But we're in a new era now of kids. I remember going to a class one time. This kid was repeatedly sleeping in school, in class, over and over and over. Teacher, after 5 days of letting him sleep, decided the 6th day, the Monday, she was going to now say something. She said something to him. He gave her some broken English, basically cussed her out. They call me, I come down there, I escort them to my office, take them inside, I said, look, man, what's going on, bro? Why are you showing out? Back then, it was MySpace, before Facebook. I said, you on MySpace all night? He said, no, Dep. He said, I can't sleep all night long. Them people tapping on the window because my brother's selling dope out the window. I said, oh. So what? We could have gotten information, went in there and kicked the front door in of his mom's house, right? But you know what I said? I'm going to help this kid. We found an aunt that would let him move with her. He was able to stay zoned still. He's graduated, has a family, married, big-time manager, one of the hotels here in Orlando. Ain't God good? I had another young man. I noticed he was wearing the same T-shirt 2 or 3 days straight. He was just flipping it inside out. Brought him in my room, my office. I had extra clothing I would have donated. They could swap out shirts, whatever they needed. So what's going on? He said, oh, well, you know. He said, I leave school, and I catch the Lynx bus, that's the city bus, to an hotel on Cimarron Boulevard where the airport is. And then I would catch a shuttle bus from the hotel to the airport, and I would sleep at the airport. And then I would get up in the morning, wash myself off, because at the airport, you know, people get layovers. They don't really, you know, think about who those people are in the building. As long as you're not making any fuss, nobody's going to really bother you. He would come back in the next morning, get on the shuttle bus, take it back to the hotel, get on the Lynx bus, take it to school. Had a 3.8 GPA. Mom never reported him missing. It was so violent at home, he didn't want to live there anymore. Bullying can be direct, verbal, put downs, teasing, harassment. Some of us are getting that right from our own family. We just like your daddy. You ain't going to be worth nothing. Sound familiar? Somebody could say amen. Face to face. It's a hard way to live. Physical. Shoving, pushing, hitting, threats. That's what assault is. Psychological. Dirty looks. Nicknames that don't fit. Indirect. Talking behind your back. And we teach our children. If you have associates / friends who talk to you about people, guess what they're doing when you're not around? They talking about you. No, they ain't, Deb. Okay. Telling people not to be friends with a victim. Lowering people's opinion about them. Gossip. But we let them know, you want to bully, this could be your home. We're not condemning, but we sure ain't condoning. Because we understand that history is showing those who are bullying have had some form in their life that they were bullied. So we tell them, if you're being bullied, tell somebody. But don't just put it on Facebook because they don't care. I don't care how many likes you get, how many balloons they put, they don't care. Someone who hates you normally hates you for one of many reasons. However, one thing is for sure. Bullies don't pick on people who don't matter. So we let people know how they matter in this world. How they have a purpose and a promise that says that if they just hold on, find a way to connect, it'll be all right. I almost started preaching. You caught that? Keep in mind, you are important and love what? Beyond measure. I had to be honest as a parent. I got 2 boys. One's in middle school, one's in high school, and I have a daughter that's a junior at UCF. And I think Provision-wise, I've given them everything they need. My oldest daughter, not a problem. Floated through school, floated through, got in college, she's doing well. My oldest son had a little struggles with academically in elementary, but boom, Zoom, honors classes, AP, all that. But this baby boy, somebody know what I'm talking about. Provisions was not enough. Giving him somewhere to live, giving him things to have, teaching him he's a drummer at my church, he plays football, he's got all that. It wasn't enough. He stays in trouble. So I'm going, what is the reason that my son believes he has to be a conduit for evil? Can I use that word? And so I began to understand. We sat down one day. I took him for a ride in the car. I said, listen, son, can you tell me why you struggle so much in school? He said, Dad, I'll be honest. I look at my sister, honors, AP classes, UCF, moved on. I look at my brother. He's real humble and loving, and he said it just seemed like a lot of pressure. And at first I was like, boy, ain't no pressure on you. Man up. But then if that's the way he felt, I had to figure out, and this is one thing I learned over life, I don't treat my kids all the same, but I treat them all fair. There's some things my baby boy can't do that my older one can. But what I also learned is they don't receive information the same. And so I learned that though he was brought up in a house where military, police, pastor, my way or the highway mentality, I had to get a little more touchy-feely with him. So it was a change for me. Let's be real, though. Those of us who've been in this world 40 and 50 years, we ain't good with change. If it worked for the other two, it gonna work for you, right? But I had to learn that so I could make sure that when, not if, he was not making healthy choices, he would come to me rather than let it just go down and just wait on the consequences. Some of our children who are being bullied, that's what they do. Instead of them come to us, they wait until it just goes down and just deal with the consequences. Can you click on that? Will it work? Won't work. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Go to the next, that's fine. Remember, we're all individually as a group responsible for stopping bullies. You remember there was a time we grew up in a neighborhood where everybody knew everybody in the neighborhood? Do you know now statistics say that the average resident lives in their home about 8 years before they move? There was a time that if your parent or a grandparent died, one of the siblings or one of the children were moving to the house. Now before grandma cold, they're already putting it on Remax. They selling the house. They're getting out of the neighborhood. They won't come back. And so what we're finding ourselves is the love of a community is gone. So the love of parenting is dwindling. So kids are raising themselves. There are a lot more single parent homes now than ever before. So the oldest child is, in their words, stuck, raising their siblings, missing out on life. That's what they say, right? We teach them how to stop and support. We talk to our older teenagers, junior seniors who are getting jobs. They didn't understand what sexual harassment is because it's real. Yep, those are military as well. But we tell them it also can happen at McDonald's, and you can lose your job and probably go to jail depending on what happened. Then we talk to them about predators. How they gather information about you. How they know what you're doing because they watch what you post. How they target you and respond to you at your darkest hour. You know how you put on Facebook the little emojis that you're not doing well today? I'm still learning that stuff. I'm working on my GED with that. And then they come right back around. Bloop. How's your day? You seem like you were going through a lot yesterday. I know, I go through the same thing. They just want to be your friend, right? Then they start gathering information. They see on Friday that you got a picture of you eating your Wendy's going, greatest place on earth. Bloop, on Saturday. Wow, I tried that new sandwich at Wendy's. It was the bomb. Have you tried it yet? Conversation starts. Innocent, right? So we think you get flattered that someone thinks that you enough to know that you are nice. Then once they know what they like and what you don't like, what your interests are, now you have a friend for life. Before you know it, you feel like you're talking to the only person in the world that understands you truly, right? You trust that person with every thought, every feeling. Or you think you're too smart. Oh, no, I know. I can tell they run a game. Ask some of our sexual trafficking victims who thought they knew. So we tell them, don't respond. If you don't know them, don't respond. And that's hard because if I'm somebody who doesn't have a lot of friends, easy to say when you're the class president. Easy to say when you're the hottest thing on the football field, basketball court, swim team, lacrosse, tennis, golf. Then you can't tell the difference between who's who. They all start looking alike. So we give them a little test. What does a sexual predator look like? It's all we know. Okay? He can be anybody. She can be anybody. If they have the desire and ability and the opportunity, they will. We ask that they eliminate the opportunity. 75% of our children are willing to share personal information about themselves and their family. Only 25% who encountered a sexual approach or solicitation actually told a parent. Targets were between 14 and older. So what are the plans? Just want to be your friend. We reiterate the likes and don't likes. We go over this a couple of times so that they know. But we remind them, if nothing else, any exposure will become an experience you will never forget. So tell me, which one's the bad guy? How many say number one? How many say number two? All of them is a safe answer. Come on, you ain't even trying. Number three? Number four? Thank you, little man. Bam. Number two is a special agent that goes undercover. For all of y'all that are 11. See what they got going? Look at that. Possession of child pornography, 10 years. He was a student, babysitter. What about this one? Who's bad? I'm dating myself again. Number one, raise your hand. 2, 3, 4. 4 looks like it. Like she was a school teacher. Possession and distribution of child pornography. Number 3 was a teacher. Online solicitation and traveling. Huh? He went to meet somebody's child. Look through the signs, brothers and sisters. I give my son all the privacy he wants. I'll take the hinges off the door tonight. I tell my kids, we don't lock no doors around here. The only door locked is me and your mama. I need to walk in at any time. Now my daughter I knock because she's a girl. But them boys, you got the same thing I got. Put some clothes on. What about this? Number 1, 2, 3, 4. Paraprofessional, St. Johns County. Online soliciting, transmission of harmful materials and traveling. Online soliciting, meeting a minor, what they perceived to be, really was the police. Possession of child pornography. I hope I helped somebody today. If I may help you in any way, please feel free. That's my cell phone and my email. I thank you for my time today. And I always have this analogy before I leave. You're going to meet people that know more than you, but they won't be willing to do more than you, especially when they come to you. Thank you for today. Questions? Where we at? Am I coming to you or somebody coming to you? Okay, I guess I'm coming to you. Come on. No, they got to hear you.
So I have, hello, can you hear me? So I have an 11-year-old daughter. Obviously, most kids have a cell phone now. She is receiving inappropriate text messages. So how do we handle that as parents? we've reported them, I guess, in a manner to the schools and things like that, but the schools are telling us that it's a parental problem and not the school's problem. So as parents, how do we handle the text messages that we're receiving on our kids' phones?
Okay, well, the school is only going to deal with on-campus incidents. They're not going to deal with anything short of the bus stop. It's about the best you're going to get out of them, and sometimes that's sketchy, depending on whether they walked from the bus stop. They're supposed to be covered from the time they get off the bus until they enter their home, but you know how that goes. That can get sketchy if it's not on campus. And I would just go to say, you know, what kind of relationship do you and your daughter have? Is it she tells you everything except she's getting an inappropriate text message? So she told you. So is it a student? Okay. These are former friends? Okay, so there's a battle somewhere. She's telling you about it, but she doesn't want to get rid of the friendship. So that's where you're going to have the dilemma. I always tell people it's easy to look at low-hanging fruit because that's apparent. You got to deal with the root, the foundation of the situation. I would say you and her would have to get a one-on-one and seriously her considering how you feel about it and how she feels about it, and see if you can come to some common ground that this person or persons are going to probably have to be let go, at least by phone privileges. You can say, you know, I can't tell you don't speak to them at school because that could cause other issues. You can still say hi and say, you know what, blame it on me. That's why I tell my kids, anything you're going through, blame it on your daddy. Tell them, look, man, my dad, the police, he don't play. He done told me I can't talk after 5 o'clock. Man, don't text bro, I told you, don't text my phone. My dad already, look, he took the phone. I tried to tell you, bro. Tell her utilize you because you're not afraid. You're not worried about it. And then that kind of takes the alleviation off of them that they can still kind of semi-exist in the school program without necessarily having something that comes against them. Make sense? Give that a shot. That's a start. Then if it doesn't, you may have to go to their parents and try it from that level as well. But you always got to think about what your kids have to deal with after you've, quote unquote, proved your point. They still got to live in that world after you've done whatever you've done. Go ahead.
Currently, I have a 9-year-old at home, but you know, I do have aftercare. At what age legally can you leave your kids home alone? My sister told me 10. I said, no. I said 12, but legally.
Right. There is no age statute. It is if the child is believed to be able to care for themselves without hurt, harm, or danger. Now, there are some, I'll be honest with you, there are some 10-year-olds that can hold their own.
Yeah.
There are some 14-year-olds, I would leave them home
I
to
would
go to the
leave
store, to the mailbox and back.
It came up because of summer camps.
Right.
I'm like, well, 12, I want her
Now,
to be constructive, responsible.
Of course, if you're talking 5, 6, 7, 8, you're going to have issues.
Of course.
If they're around that close to teenage, that 11, 12, 10, 11, 12, it all depends on the maturity of the
I'm going to put
child.
them in summer camp. I want to have them have, you know, as much structure.
But the statute doesn't give an actual age number as to when they could be left. Because latchkey, you know, is latchkey. Right.
My question is, since bullying seems to be such a high topic and seems like every child from kindergarten to 12th grade knows about bullying, everything now is a bully. You know, you looked at me, why you looking at me, you bullying me. At what point do you take that as a serious note where you just go in and deal with the one that's being bullied?
And I caught part of that. I apologize. Someone was trying to give me some more instruction.
I said, since bullying is a big topic now, and children, everything now is bullying. You touched me, you looked at me, you did this, you did that. At what point do you take that as serious, that child is actually being bullied?
Right. Well, I take everything serious. However, I have to also understand that children don't ever think about two things: time and consequences. They believe they can do everything forever, and they believe, you know, it's not a big deal if I get caught in something. What you have to figure is every case is its own case. Every situation, we love to blanket everything, and by school policies we do, and by state statutes we blanket it all. But every case still is its own case. If your child believes that they cannot effectively grow as a person, they feel less of themselves, they feel that it's too much, you have to deal with it and address it. And you have to ask your kids to be honest. Because kids feel like they have to tell you what you want to hear. They do. They feel led to say, yes, Mom, yes, Dad, because they believe that's what you want to hear. So they don't believe they should always have to tell you, quote unquote, the truth, even though you say, tell me the truth. So I would say you would always have to get that quality time. There was a time we went back to those quality times where those informal things pop up. You know, now everybody goes to the table and everybody's flipping their iPhone while they're trying to chew at the same time. So nobody really talks. Then TV time is somebody's on their phone, somebody's on their laptop, somebody's on their tablet. The TV's going on, nobody's really watching it. Next thing you know, it's time to go to bed. 10 years later, 3 years later, 2 school terms later, and this is what you have. So I would say quality time is the best thing you can do. Today was actually me and my wife's anniversary. And so since 1991, I guess that held up enough for me to be here today. But with that being said, and I don't get too far left, but I do something with my kids. Every day it's somebody's turn to do a scripture. We do a family text. Since they want to text. They don't want to talk. They want to text, right? So every morning, one of my kids rotates. They have to give us something, and then they have to give their view of what they believe it is. Now, whatever your relationships may be, you could say, okay, power words. Your kid may say power word. Give me your power word. And in that conversation, you may find out he may put depression. And you be like, wow, why did he put that word? And then that gives you an open door. Why did you put that word? Why did you say that? So those are things to think about. How can I find a way to connect with my child? Because to be honest, the way we grew up and the way they grew up is just totally different. All right? They have so many avenues that we didn't have. TV shut off at 11 or 12 o'clock, whether you wanted to or not, right? You got the national anthem and till the next morning. Now there's so much stuff available for them that they can sit up and catch late and all those types of things. So I would say quality time is the quickest way to see what's going on with your children, which sometimes is hard. I didn't say quantity time, quality. If it's nothing more than taking your kids and going to Winn-Dixie and pushing around the car, say, bro, how was your day today? What happened at school? How'd you do on your test? He give you that look. You know your kid look, right? You know how they look at you, man, you know. Okay. All of that's quality time that you're not going to get going to a parent-teacher conference when you look like you want to choke them out because you're going again for the same thing. You're going to have to find another avenue. That'd be it. Next question.
Here. Oh, hi.
Hello.
Yes. Just during the break, I was in our room, and my 20-year-old was crying. I say, "Look, Mom, my friend told me in a text that please don't talk to her anymore." It was a friend from high school. So it looked like it doesn't matter if they are 9, 10, or 20 years old. There is always somebody like a bullying your kids like that. So even when they are grown up, like my daughter, what you can do to, encourage them that they are important. For me, it looks like it was easier when she was bullied at school because she was fat. And this was like easy, but now that she grew up, look like it's, how can I say, the problems are bigger when they are bullied because, I don't know. I was speechless when she was crying, in tears, telling me, she has been here for that friend.
And as you get older, it's a lot of it rolls around a couple of things. One thing for sure is image. Even at college, I just had one of our young adults from our ministry that called me, hysterical on the phone. Her and her roommate have been crying and carrying on and having depression thoughts because it's just been so overwhelming. She goes to University of Florida, and she just says it's just a lot of pressure. She's in student services trying to help other students. And then as she was telling me that, I said, okay, you just got the residual of what they're going through. It's like smoking weed. I'm sorry, reefer for you people. you just got the blowback. I said, take a minute and breathe. And as we began to continue to talk, she began to realize she had got sucked in to what these people were going through. And so she was feeling depressed for really no common reason, but just being associated with other people. Well, it's the same thing in the bullying effect. There are a lot of kids who hang around bullies that just got sucked in. It was easier to go along so they could get along. Tell your daughter she's more than a conqueror. She's going to be all right. Reassure her that. Hello.
Hi. I wanted to comment on what you said before the question, how a lot of us when we grew up, yeah, the cable went out, the TV would shut off, right? So that's it, like how you were describing.
Right.
But I'm curious how it is that the TV can't still be shut off and everyone goes to bed and that's it, right? Like, we can still do that. We don't need the cable company to do it. We can just say, we're done here.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Right? No, I mean, you just say it.
I don't know. Maybe
We're the parents.
I'm just
Aren't we the boss of what's happening, or do we
you,
just?
you
is
are
it
you
okay
are too.
if we turn
Let's
that
be
TV
realistic,
off?
okay?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Let's
Why
be
aren't we?
Right. Let's be realistic.
That is the reality.
I'm not a fool. I'm smart enough to know that if my children who have been watching television for whatever time period they have, if I went up there and turned it off, I would hope that it would stay off. But I'm smart enough to know that in your learning of childhood, you do things you shouldn't do. So if I do it one time and get away with it, I'm probably going to do it twice and get away with it. And next thing you know, I'm going to do it every night until Daddy come up there, snatch the TV out the wall, and take it downstairs, which is what I've done. And then we moved on.
Right.
But I got to be honest. It took me having to realize that everything I tell my kids doesn't necessarily mean they do it. Because everything my boss tells me, I know you do everything your boss tells you. But I'm just saying, for some of us who still come short, I may find a way to do it another way. Not because I don't want to listen to my boss, but I'm just not thinking about how I'm doing it. I just do it. Well, kids do the same thing. You give them rules, they break them, right? They understand there's a consequence. Sometimes they're willing to deal with the consequence. I think my time is up. She's trying to wave me off.
So my question is,
Go ahead.
because we're all here to improve the lives of our children, the quality of their lives, we're here to help them, right? And give them
Yes, sure
a better
we
life
are.
than
Yes,
us,
ma'am.
right? So isn't it so by doing that, we can be proactive, and isn't it so that we don't have to have TVs in our kids' rooms, and they don't have to have their cell phones there at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, getting bullied? Can't we do like what we did? We couldn't have phones in our room. The cord wouldn't stretch down the hall.
Well,
Can't we
Well, what I'm
help?
saying, but every-
Wouldn't that help?
right? But
Is my
everybody's
question?
house is their own house, and how you raise your children, not the question that is right or wrong. Maybe different houses. We have kids here that do follow the rules, have their phones, have their TVs, and do what's right. It's all about learning your house. Yeah, it helps, but I'm saying but think about it. If you have to start taking your kid's phone, it's a bigger problem going on, right? So you just have to. We didn't have it, but at the same time, you bought them a phone, so now you want to take it every night? That sounds like work. I don't know. All you're doing is, if you get the quality time you're supposed to try and get with your kids, it helps them. And some mistakes, guys, are future miracles. I know you want your house mistake-free, but I promise you that any mistake that happens in your home can still be a miracle down the road for somebody else. And I think I'm done. Here she coming to grab it.
One more.
Everybody, please thank him for being here.
She says we got to get out of here. Please, Deputy Murray, hurry up.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
I have a comment and a question.
Sure.
My comment is that I'm a 20-year educator.
Sure.
And I've seen it over the years. It's the bullying thing getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And to the point that sometimes I feel like we believe that bullying is something that's new. It existed in the 70s and 80s when I was in school, but we handled it very differently. So now everything is bully, but not that I want any child to ever be harmed or to ever feel bad about themselves, but sometimes I think things that really aren't bullying are being caught are under the bully umbrella, that some of these things are just growing pains that you just have to go through as a child. This person doesn't want to talk to you anymore. Okay, they don't want to talk to you anymore. Found another friend. That's what I would have been told. It wouldn't have been, you're being bullied. That's not what it would. When I talk to my students, I'm like, no, that's not bullying. That's just.
Right. We have to be honest as well.
Sir?
I think as parents, we have to be honest. Every parent wants better for their children than they had.
Certainly.
Well, the con to that is sometimes what we should have been giving them, we substituted it for something else.
Okay.
And so their foundation is different. And so now the things that we stood on that maybe held us to keep moving on, they don't have that. So they have to find a substitute, which was their phone or their tablet or whatever you gave them, because you didn't have the time, because you were doing whatever you were doing, working 2 jobs, managing whatever you're managing, all that kind of stuff. Daddy wasn't around anymore, whatever, or you're living with grandma. She's not as young as she used to be. She can't stay up past 8 o'clock even if she tried, right? So there are a lot of dynamics that have changed in the last 30 years that I think that now our children have been.
I don't think any of that is new that you just named. Single-parent homes, people being
Well,
raised
but
by grandmothers.
communities were more connected 30 years ago than they are today.
That has changed.
Okay, even if they were a single parent. But there were more couples 40 years ago than there are now 30, 40 years later. People were more coupled up.
What is the definition? Besides, something that upsets the child, what is
anything that hinders your child from feeling that they can be productive, have self-purpose, anything that drives them, that feels like there's no way out, anything that causes them to be so secret about how they're feeling, anything that causes them to not believe that they can go to someone and see change, those are those things that can consider bullying. Bullying becomes a point where I don't believe I got no other way out. I just have to go along with what's going on. Until I say, you know what, the easiest way out for me is to just kill myself. And sometimes it's not what you say in the midst of you being harsh, but you got to listen to your kids now, because so many avenues are entered to them that we were kept from. If you don't listen to your child now, she might wind up in North Carolina working for some guy named Willie. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And I'm not saying sexual trafficking wasn't going on 40 years ago, but I can tell you it's definitely hitting home now. And because we've been given these avenues of social media and all these other things, we just got to be a little bit more attentive to what they're saying. That's all I'm saying. Thank you for your time today.